You have to be a specialist and niche in one thing. The first year of business is growth. When you do post sales posts, you're going to get more of a better reaction because you're building rapport with these people, but you're also building long-term trust, which then is long-term traffic, right? I was thinking ahead and I was thinking about, I want to gather a pool of people who are perfect for my brand and my product. So it just really makes it easy for you to imagine that this is possible for you, because boss, it absolutely is possible. Welcome to the Handmade Bosses show. I'm Steph, and my mission is to help you start, run, and scale an online handmade business and build a creative life you love. I went from being in a 9-to-5 that I absolutely hated to running my 6-figure handmade business in less than a year. So bosses, let's help you get your amazing products out there and get the sales you deserve. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Handmade Bosses show. So today I thought I would give you 7 things that you need to get to 5 figures a month in your handmade business. Now, I really believe that these are all things that you have to get to. These are all kind of like barriers that we all have to come across, all right? So the very, very first one, and I'm going to get straight into it, this is going to be a juicy episode, is you have to focus on money generating activities. So let me explain. When we first start our business, the only thing that you should be thinking about is things that are going to get you sales, which sounds obvious. But listen, how many times have you obsessed over your logo, your branding? Really a lot of you guys, when I get messages, you do sometimes obsess, and this is a natural thing, you do sometimes obsess over the smallest thing. And, it could be a question of, are you procrastinating? Are you nervous? Have you got money blocks? And I have done episodes all around that before. So honestly, you have to really only focus on things that's going to get you to the 5 figures a month mark. So, you could be looking at, do I open up my own website versus posting on social media, right? And you guys may immediately be like, well, obviously you open up your own website. But here's the thing, is that going to be generating income for you now, straight away? No, it's not, right? Having your own website is a lot of work and it's not going to be instant, okay? Whereas posting on social media, you're going to increase your reach, you're going to get to people who follow you, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And you're going to be getting people coming into your shop, and providing that your shop converts well, which by the way, we do have the masterclass for in the show notes. It's going to be generating income for you if it's done right. So when you first start out, you think that everything is important. You think that you have 1,000,001 things to do. You have all these things that people are telling you must do. But here's the thing, only focus on income generating activities, truly 100%. If someone was to say to you, I need £20 to do this task, you have to be like, yeah, sure, because I'm going to get £50 from it back. Okay. So fiddling around with your website, your branding, your logo, whether to send a free gift, packaging and stuff like that. All that is stuff that can be worked on later on once you start producing income. I just feel like a lot of people, they procrastinate on the smallest things. And in reality, it doesn't matter. You just need to get your business off the ground. Done is so much better than perfect. The very next thing is focus on one thing. And this kind of fits in with the last point. But I see so many new shops selling wallets, selling belts, selling shoes, or selling jewelry, cards, soaps, candles, all together in one shop. And I also see shops that will do like gothic jewelry, but also do gothic painting, just as an example. But and they'll be like, well, it's the same target market, right? Here's the thing. Something that has become more apparent as I've worked with more clients and in my own business is this. You have to be a specialist and niche in one thing, okay? I have worked with really successful Etsy shops that are now successful that focus on one thing. For example, there are a couple of students that are from the academy that make jewelry. But they make clay jewelry and botanical jewelry, right? Which is already a niche in itself. And you might be saying, well, Steph, that's cool. Like that's a niche in itself. Clay jewelry, or rather colourful clay jewelry, minimalistic clay jewelry, and real flower botanical jewelry. That's enough of a niche in itself. But no. These successful shops have niched down again. They both only sell earrings, right? So it is so true when I say that the money is in the niche. People then see you as a specialist in that one thing and they come to you for help. If you're trying to be a lot of things to a lot of different people, you're going to be nothing to them. You're going to be so forgettable. People are going to come onto your shop, look at your items, be like, oh, cool, this is nice, and then immediately leave. Your brand is not going to stick in their minds. Whereas, if you're selling real flower botanical earrings, the very next time that they're even thinking about buying a new dress that has floral elements in it, they're going to be coming to you because they know that, hey, this person only spends their day making real flower botanical earrings. Okay. So that means that I believe this person is the expert. Now, would that still be the case if this person sold botanical earrings, clay necklaces, and scarves all in one shop? No, that person would be like, this brand is not for me. I'm going to go elsewhere. Okay. And that's why you'll often see brands. I'm not just talking about handmade brands, but brands in general that specialize in one particular thing doing really, really well. And a lot of times people will say, I just don't understand why this brand doesn't branch out and do other things. Like, why doesn't Tesla branch out and sell normal petrol cars, right? And the answer is because they don't need to, because they've carved out a little corner of that one niche in, the handmade business space. I mean, not Tesla, obviously. So you really don't want to be everything to one person. Now, you could argue that people that buy soaps, that buy candles, that buy wax melts, that buy incense sticks are all in the same target market, which is completely true. But you have to really question, whether or not you're going to be able to really put the all and the work into perfecting one type of product versus, having 3 or 4 different types of products, against that target market. All right. So let me explain, okay? So you may have complementing products, and that is fine, but they all have to have one thing in common. What I would say is that you'll see shops that will carve out a niche, but if they have more than 1, 2, 3 products, they all have a theme, all right? So let's say, for example, let's look at Yankee Candle versus the White Company, right? 2 off the top of my head. I'm going to get in trouble here now for trying to take things off the top of my head. But Yankee Candle, they really only truly sell candles. That is all they sell, is candles, right? The White Company, though, they sell great candles, but they sell other things, but they all have a theme, right? Everything is clean, minimalistic, crisp, and white. To be honest with you, it's either beige, white, or cream. So if Yankee Candle was to start to sell clothing, reed diffusers, face care, perfume, it would be really confusing because Yankee Candle doesn't have a theme. The only theme they have is that they sell candles. So one thing I would really recommend that you guys do is to either niche in one product or, you know, at a push, have one theme, okay? But I would always say that the money is in the niche. You have to niche down, because if you don't, people are just going to walk into your store. Well, not walk into, but virtually walk into your store and be like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't know who this shop is for. It's certainly not for me. I'm gonna just toodle on out now and I'm gonna go elsewhere. And I'm sure that you guys have done that in an actual physical store before, where you've walked into it and then like immediately walked out and been like, yeah, this is not for me. So it's the exact same on your Etsy shop, right? In fact, it's probably easier so, because they can just click the back button and they're out of there. So you've got to make sure that your branding especially does talk to your target market, which is where all the heavy target market work comes into place, which is probably the most important pillar of all this. And then you've got to create a niche of product that is basically screaming at them, being like, you need me in your life, like give me your money now, because believe me, it can be done. And this is something that we do teach in the academy. We have been having some great conversations so far on today's episode, but I've got something even more special for you. You know what it takes to be shown on page 1 on Etsy, right? Yep, you guessed it, increasing your conversion rate. My 3-step framework to skyrocket your Etsy conversion rate is my signature free masterclass. And boss, I'm saving a spot for you. Learn how to increase your conversion rate in 3 easy steps, as well as the top 3 mistakes I see Etsy shops make on a daily basis. Sign up in the show notes or head to handmadebosses.com/conversion. That's handmadebosses.com/conversion, CONVERSION, to claim your spot. Now let's get back to the episode, and I can't wait to see you there, boss. The third thing is to, in your business, make sure to get support from like-minded people. That is why we did create our free Facebook group. We have got a lot of members in there now. So I will put the link for that in the show notes below. But you really have to get a support network behind you. Business can be a very lonely journey. And if you haven't got people around you that are in the same space, that get it, that understand it, that, you know, you need to bounce ideas off of, it's invaluable. And I'm not joking when I say it is truly an invaluable experience. It's an asset, really, to have a group around you that you can bounce ideas off of, that are in the same space as you in the handmade business space, that know what you're going through, that are growing with you. And also, it's super important to have people that you can aspire to, that are like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of you, that you can look at and say, I know this is possible because this person has done it, that person has done it. And that is what our Etsy group will give you, because there are people at all levels. So wherever you are, you're going to get people in there that you can aspire to, learn from, and chat to. The fourth thing is the first year of business. And this is something that I've really reflected quite heavily upon recently. The first year of business is all about learning and investing. It's like a cycle. It's like learning, investing, learning, investing. And the reason I say that is that there is no point starting a business if the first month you make money, you're just taking it straight back out and continuing the exact same process as you did the previous month. The first year of business is growth. And you can't do that if you're not learning and if you're not investing, all right? So really, you've got to be making a plan. And I'm going to kind of gradually lead on to my next point, which is, in order to plan, in order to understand where you want to go, you want to set your big goal, obviously, but you also want to set monthly goals, all right? And you want to set monthly goals that do gradually increase. So let's say, for example, that this month you want 10 sales, next month will be 13, the month after that will be 18, the month after that will be 25. And really set monthly goals. Break down your big goal into monthly goals. And then the other thing is to create a growth plan. And this is actually really super fun. But to create a growth plan, okay, so you've got your big goal, you know monthly, how your sales are going to increase. But put yourself forward by 6 months and ask yourself whether you would be able to, number one, handle the amount of orders that you've got now, but like double, triple, quadruple, whatever, times 10 in some cases, right? Number two is, who are you going to need to help you? This could be staff, it could be mentors, it could be anyone in your life that when you're thinking ahead at what a 6-figure, 5-figure, 7-figure handmade business is going to look like, what people would be in your life to help you with this. Now, it could be an accountant, it could be a photographer, it could be a virtual assistant. It can be anyone that you're going to need to help you to get to that point, right? So within your growth plan, you also need to make sure that you are putting systems in place to take some of the load off. When we first start our business, for example, we might be manually putting email addresses into our MailChimp account if we have one. Instead, get a Zapier connection to do it for you, or even better, just get them to sign up straight on a landing page that's going to whack them straight in your email list. All right, little things like that, just as an example that you're doing now to save a few bucks. But when you're looking at 60 orders a month, 100 orders a month, whatever, you're going to be looking at it and being like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to have the time to do that. But plan for it, because if you're planning for it, you fail to plan, you plan to fail, okay? But if you're planning for it, you then have a plan of action in case things get crazy for you, especially over the holidays. And also number two, by doing it, it's very cathartic, and you're almost imagining what your business would be like when you get to that stage. So it no longer becomes, and it's a very law of attraction exercise, right? As well as doing a growth plan, which is also a good business exercise. But you're looking ahead and you're being like, this is possible because I've written it down and I've made sense of all the numbers and it just makes sense. And that is something that I did in my jewelry business, but we've also done in Handmade Bosses. We have planned out like the next 18 months because we are looking at the numbers, and we're not basing it on crazy numbers that, we're not anywhere near hitting yet, but we're looking at the growth that we've had in the last month, and we're being like, right, where has that growth come from? It's come from X, Y, Z. What's going to happen if I double down on that growth? Well, it's going to double again, triple again, quadruple again, right? So you're basically just planning that out. And it's not based on just guessing, it's based on actual fact, okay? So it just really makes it easy for you to imagine that this is possible for you, because boss, it absolutely is possible for you. I'm living proof. I have a 6-figure Etsy shop in a super saturated niche, probably the most saturated niche on Etsy. And I'm also in the UK, which Etsy is not as such of a big deal. So if I can do it, you can definitely 100% do it as well. So my next point is to focus on two things, right? A lot of people focus on just making sales, all right? Which obviously, as I said in the first point, is great. But when you're starting to gain traction and get sales, you want to focus on income generating activities, but also you want to focus on building long-term traffic sources. Let me explain. A good example of this is when I say to other Etsy shop owners, handmade business owners, and I say, boss, what are you posting on social media this week? And they're like, well, I'm going to post that I've got a discount code on Monday. Then I'm going to post that I've got new products coming in on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I'm going to do a poll to see what people want to see next. Then Thursday, I'm going to do, and I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, okay, but what's in it for me? What's in it for the customer? Okay, and it's always like one of those questions that people sort of go, well, they're getting a good item, which is completely fair. That's completely fine. But that is a very short-term view, Because what are you going to measure coming away from those posts? What are you going to measure? You're going to measure views and sales, all very short-term goals. You get the viewer, you get the click, you get the customer, you get the sale, and then that's it. I mean, obviously in the Handmade Bosses Success Academy, we do teach you a whole cycle system showing you what to do after that, how to get that customer back to you into your email list, make them a super fan profit generator, and then, the world's your oyster. But from a social media point of view, you are just, your ultimate goal for that post is to get sales, right? But really, there's another secret thing that you should be focusing on is long-term traffic sources, all right? So with this, also you're building trust, okay? So you really want to be focusing on not only getting people into your social media network, whether that's Facebook, Instagram. I mean, I'm going to use Instagram because, I've only personally had an Instagram account for Handmade Bosses for not that long, but it's really just shown me the power of this, right? That I am not focusing on making sales all the time. Okay, that's not even the purpose of the Instagram account. What is the purpose for it is for it to become a bit of a home hub where people go to hang out with you outside of office hours, almost outside of your shop. And you're there to build trust. You're there to get people over there. And then when you do post sales posts, you're going to get more of a better reaction because you're building rapport with these people, but you're also building long-term trust, which then is long-term traffic, right? What you don't want to do is you don't want to purely focus on the followers or the numbers or the likes or the comments, because again, that's a very short-term goal. You want to be looking at how engaged these people are. Are they in your target market? Are you really truly building trust with these people? Because it is so true. You can make a 6-figure online handmade business with 1,000 followers on Instagram, but only if they are super engaged, if they love everything you buy, if they truly are your target market, and if you yourself, your shop, your branding and everything is calling out to them, attracting them. It's a real eye-opening experience to have a low follower count, but be able to build a 6-figure handmade business. In my handmade business, I only have like 3,500 followers on Instagram, but you know what? They were so engaged. I was so into my target market that I didn't actively even put hashtags on my post because I was like, I don't actually need to get more people in because these are the people, and I did get people coming into my Instagram, but 9 times out of 10, it was from the friends of these people that were so in tune with my brand because I wasn't always focused on the short-term sale. I was thinking ahead and I was thinking about, I want to gather a pool of people who are perfect for my brand and my product. And that really, guys, should be your focus, because if you're trying to compete with yourself on vanity metrics such as followers, hearts, whatever, you're not going to win, especially on like social media and stuff like that. It's the same with an email list, right? If you're just focusing on getting them in, that's great. But what are you doing with them? Are you actually building trust? Are you actually sending really useful emails to them? Same with blogging, same with everything else. So really, you've got to be focusing at this point, once you've done really doubling down on, profit generating activities and not fiddling with your branding and basically the first point that I mentioned, then you've got to start looking at building long-term traffic sources. All right. It's really important. The very last thing is that when people are new on Etsy, they do have a habit of giving a lot away, right? And I'm laughing because I work with so many people and they're like, I've got my first Etsy sale. Oh, I'm going to send them this and I'm going to send them that and I'm going to send them this. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but let's rein it in. You have to set boundaries. I'm not just talking about like the classic, you have to give them office hours. Yeah, we've all heard that tip, okay? Obviously, do set office hours and stuff like that, but do set boundaries. A really good instance of this is when I had an email from someone who sold like art prints, right? Digital art. And they got a order and the customer was like, right, I want this change, I want that change. And, they agreed to it. So at that point, someone who is an artist who sells art was then becoming like a custom print designer at that point. Now, if it was me, I would have just said, no, I'm sorry, it's art, the print is as is, okay? But this lady said, yes, I'm going to change things for you. Then it got sent back with the changes made. Then it bounced back and said, oh, I want this change now and that change. Then it bounced back again. This person was not setting boundaries. And to be honest, you're setting yourself up to fail. Do you see the likes of Tiffany being sent jewelry back and saying, oh, I want the stone like a slightly different colour, or I want the metal to be more yellowy or more rose goldy or more blue or green or whatever? No, because they've set boundaries. They're like, this is what I offer. If you don't like it, leave. You absolutely can fire your customers. And at the end of the day, if you are getting people like that in your business, chances are they're not your target market and you need to, remove them, cancel the order and move on. Because also chances are that this person is going to be a pain in the A, like right from the word go. And, it's probably not going to be a pleasant transaction. So set boundaries. And, a good example for this is what I coached this particular lady through with her shop is that I said, right, next time someone places an order or asks for you to change things, it's completely up to you. And she did actually opt for being able to make changes, but for an additional charge. So the message that I said for her to craft now so that she can send people to set boundaries is something like this. Like, hi, thank you so much for your message. I would love to make changes to this art print for you. I would happily send you a link to my, I can't remember what she called it, but it was basically like an update fee listing. And then I will get working on your updates. Does that sound fair? And it's always a really clever thing to end when you're doing something that can be perceived as negative or you're worried about, you're basically like setting a boundary. It's always like a fun thing to sign it off with, does that sound fair? Literally, does that sound fair? Because you know that it's fair. You know that this is a boundary that you want to set, but you're almost using the word fair within there. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, people are like, oh yeah, for sure. So you really have to set boundaries, all right? If you know that you've sent out an order before where you've given away so much that it's eaten into your profit margins, stop. If these people, don't be desperate for the sale, because at the end of the day, the sales are coming. Your people are out there. You just need to find them. And that has been my motto for many, many years. But your people are out there. You just have to learn how to bring them to you. You don't have to be that person who's begging for people to buy from you, because chances are they're not your target market. And that's fine. All right. You're not going to appeal to everyone. And actually, if you're doing I can't remember if it was point 2 or 3, one of the points where you're trying not to be everything to everyone, you're not going to appeal to everyone. And you are going to get people who are like, I want this, but it's not quite right. And could you do this? Could you do that? And just, if you don't want to do it and your gut feeling is telling you no, then don't do it. Set the boundaries in place. Tell them, thank you so much for showing interest in my shop. Unfortunately, I'm not doing this right now. A lot of people do feel like this, especially with custom orders on Etsy. I do get quite a lot of messages from people who start off taking custom orders and then they regret it very soon after, because everyone wants something different and everyone doesn't want to pay extra for it. So guys, set your boundaries. If you're looking ahead on your growth plan and you're thinking, well, if I was making $7,000 a month from my handmade business, would I have the time to be customizing every single item? No, you're not. So start as you mean to go on. Set those boundaries. Ask yourself the question, what would a 5-figure a month business owner do? What would a 6-figure business owner do? And do as you would do if you were making that, because you have to start as you mean to go on, and you don't have to please everyone. You don't have to beg for every sale. You are better than that. You have a special talent that is going to build you a successful handmade online business. You do not need to beg for sales, because what you make is beautiful and you're going to go far. All right. Trust me, if you put your work, effort, you put your all and your heart and your soul, and you really, do all of the points that I've mentioned, but, also you're listening to other podcasts, you're watching videos, you're taking the free class, a lot of this stuff is in the show notes below, by the way, guys. If you're doing all of that and you're putting your heart and soul into it, truly, honestly, you can hold your hand up and say, yes, I'm doing the work, then you're going to go far. You do not need to beg people and make yourself unhappy, spend time on something that you don't want to be doing. Because, bosses, a lot of you listening, watching, consuming this, however you are doing this because you don't want to be in a job that you hate. So why are you not setting boundaries in your own business and doing things that you hate when you wanted to escape that in the first place? It doesn't make sense. So I've gone off on my rant for long enough. I do hope that you enjoyed this episode and that it was helpful for you. Don't forget to check the show notes, bosses, because there are some amazing free resources in there for you. Oh, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to check the show notes for some more helpful links and also a link to our website as well. Also, you can watch the video version of this over on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to get your free spot on our masterclass, the 3-step framework to skyrocket your Etsy conversion rate at handmadebosses.com/conversion. That's handmadebosses.com/conversion. We would also love it if you could leave us a review on iTunes, as it really helps us to reach more bosses in need. Subscribe to the show, and we will see you on the next episode.